What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a lovely day today and I hope it gets even better from watching this video. Today we're going to be talking about habits of women that are actually in healthy, long-lasting and fulfilling relationships. I wanted to make this video because I feel like there's so much content online about like dating habits, how to attract someone, how to be magnetic, irresistible, like a high value woman. And while all of that is great, I've made videos like that before. I'll link the playlist down below. I just feel like there's not that much talk about what happens after. Like once you're actually in a relationship, how do you make sure that it's not only exciting, but also healthy, not just passionate, but also long lasting and fulfilling? I am someone who grew up with a lot of divorce around me. Like my parents got divorced when I was really young. Even my grandparents are divorced, a lot of my other family and like close people around me. So it's always been something that I really paid attention to and like kind of compared couples since I was young. And I really started like noting certain habits or like behaviors of especially women, because I was always relating it to myself and how I wanted to be one day, that are actually, you know, in those couples where you feel like they really fit and they're like best friends and you just know, or you just really feel like they're going to be together forever. Like they're like this. And then the couples where you can just sense that there's a lot of issues and they might not be as fulfilling as I might want for myself. So this is the list that I've compiled of, I think, 8 habits of women that are actually in healthy relationships. If you're new here, hi, I'm Nika, welcome. I make videos all about self-improvement, but I like to make them very actionable. Like here are the tips, the tricks, the to-do list, if you will, to make a difference in your life that you're actually gonna notice. So if that works for you, I would love for you to stick around and subscribe. You can also check out my Instagram if you wanna see more of my personal life. And without further ado, let's get into it. We're starting off with a bang, a little bit of a controversial one, which I feel like shouldn't be controversial, but I feel like due to probably modern feminism on TikTok and social media in general, it's become controversial. But the first habit is that she deeply understands and values the benefits of having a man in her life. The reason why I feel like this is controversial is because at least when I was like a teenager and like my earlier 20s, it was all about like, you don't need a man, girl boss to the sun, no man necessary, like why do we need them? And I definitely fell into that trap, okay? I was the one saying those things also. And it took a little bit of growing up and maturing and some rewiring to abandon that completely, because the truth is you can choose them. Like you can choose the man you want in your life. So why would you choose one that you feel like you don't need and is trash? I very much appreciate having one in my life, especially in a romantic relationship. Like it makes my life so much better and so much easier. I feel so much like softer, more feminine. I feel a lot more secure and stable and safe. I feel like that creates a lot of gratitude and appreciation, first of all, for your partner, which obviously feels good. We all want to be appreciated for the things that we bring to the table. It feels good. It feels like you're being seen and that your effort is being seen. And I feel like when a man feels that way, it's similar for us. They want to do more because they feel appreciated. Like you open the doors and you give them very like solid roles in your life and it makes them feel like you actually need them, which obviously feels good and it gives them confidence. It does the same for us, just in different ways. This like goes without saying, but I feel like when both people feel like they deeply understand and value each other and value what the other person brings, that creates a much more successful, fulfilling and like feel good relationship. The next habit of women in healthy relationships is that she pours energy into herself and her well-being. I feel like a lot of us were not raised that way. We were not raised watching the women in our lives, our moms or grandmas, taking care of themselves first and making sure that they're okay. They gave and gave and gave. And a lot of them were very depleted. At least that's what I observed. Maybe that's like just a Slavic culture. I don't know. But I feel like for a lot of us, that's a very easy little trap to fall into. And the reason for it might be like the whole good girl phenomenon. Like growing up, we were taught to not need too much, not want too much. Don't be too loud. Don't be too out there. Don't ruffle too many feathers. Like just be a good girl. And this whole idea of a man saving you from all the like fairy tales and stories that we heard as little girls, I feel like that did a lot of damage. And I've definitely noticed in the really happy, fulfilling relationships that I've observed, and when I've been my happiest in romantic relationships, it was always when I poured a lot of energy into myself and made sure I was doing well. This is also a great way to prevent that dynamic of like a mothering, nagging woman with like an incompetent son as a partner, because you don't have time for that. Like, you've got things to do. You've got things that you're learning, things that you're working on, hobbies, friends, a full, fulfilling life, and you don't have the energy to pour into an incompetent man, okay? That's really not sexy at all. Obviously, taking care of yourself and seeing yourself as a priority is gonna make you feel so much better. It's also gonna create a better relationship dynamic, and you're also a lot more attractive. Like, think of the people in your life that are very curious and playful, and they've got so many things going on and so many things that they want to talk about and things that they're learning. Like, that is very, very magnetic, and you usually want to be around those people. She communicates her needs and her wants very clearly and honestly. Again, this might come from the whole good girl phenomenon, like never need anything, never want anything, never ask for anything, don't ruffle too many feathers. If you are that way, that doesn't change the fact that you have needs. And if you don't express them clearly and honestly, you still express them, but in a very passive way, through passive aggression, constant critiquing, managing your partner, manipulating. Like, we as women, that I feel like is our number one toxic trait. We can be very, very manipulative, and we're very good at it. When you're kind of going behind their back to get what you need and what you want, it doesn't feel good. The other person can sense it, even if it's just subconscious, and it really creates a relationship that lacks trust. Or at the very least, it's just very confusing for our partners. It not only negatively affects your partner, but it also negatively affects yourself. It makes us kind of miserable. And we could avoid so many issues and so many like internal battles that we go through and annoyances if you were just able to straight up say what you need and want. So start communicating, girly pop, okay? A lot of us talk so much about communication and how men are terrible at it. This is something that we struggle with, and it's good to have that self-awareness and then actually do something about it, because you're going to be so much happier and your relationship is going to be so much better. The next habit is that she protects the relationship. The reason why I put this on there, it might be a more like masculine trait, the whole protecting, but I have heard so many women in relationships speak so negatively about their partner in front of everyone, or like you're at a table at a dinner party and a woman says something about how her man built something, and then another woman with her husband next to her is like, oh, our Carl doesn't know how to do any of that. That, since I was a kid, has always baffled me, and the amount of times I have heard comments like that specifically from women is wild. Like, it's insane. Even like you have an argument with them, or they did something that really bothers you, and instead of addressing it with them, you go to your friends and you vent, which is normal, but you do it in a very like disrespectful way, like calling them dumb or whatever. Every relationship where I feel like they have that bond that's like they're gonna be together forever, I have never heard the women do that. I have never heard the woman in the relationship or the man being disrespectful to their partner when they're with them or when they're not around. Like, I mean, that should be common sense, but for some reason, it's just a habit that a lot of women have. Protect your relationship from outside forces, even if it's family, friends, social media. Like, keep what is sacred. Like, you need to nurture that for it to stay that way. The next one is she shows gratitude and appreciation instead of nagging and mothering. Now, here's the thing. I fully understand why a lot of women get into a very critical, nagging, mothering dynamic. And of course, it also has a lot to do with a man being incompetent, and then the woman feels like she has to do everything. And that creates a dynamic that is not healthy or enjoyable at all for, I feel like, either of the party. But there's also things that we as women do that help contribute to this dynamic. So let's talk about that. I feel like this dynamic starts very early on in the relationship. So if you are at the beginning of the relationship, please listen to me. let him do things for you. Let him do the most for you. Take your foot off the gas pedal and see what he does. And also let him do things that in your eyes might not be perfect. And throw away this attitude of I can do it all by myself and replace it with, sure, I can do it by myself, but why the hell would I want to? Why would I want to? Like, imagine the dynamic that you're creating and all the things that you're just willingly placing from his plate onto yours. And then imagine doing all of those things while you also have, let's say, a career, a family, kids to take care of. Like, be mindful of what you're doing at first. And I know it's very exciting at the beginning and you're like, no, I can do it myself. Like, I don't want to be, annoying, or I don't want to come across like I don't know how to do anything. You're probably not incompetent. Like, he can see that. Just let him do things for you. I promise you, it's going to make your life down the line so much better. And then a very important piece of this is that you show genuine gratitude and appreciation for the things that he does for you. A lot of the time, we kind of swing so far in the other direction. Like, we went from women do everything, and then we got really resentful because we were exhausted, or we saw our moms, our grandmas, the women in our life exhausted. And then we got to this point where a lot of women have this attitude of course you need to do everything for me. Like, it doesn't feel good that someone does something for you and you're like, well, that was expected. You should be doing those things. Like, imagine if he had that reaction when you did something nice. Like, the fact that we even have to talk about this is wild. But so show genuine gratitude and appreciation. And when you do that, the person wants to do more things for you because it feels good to make someone else happy, actually. And when both people are like that in a relationship and understand this very basic thing, it creates a much happier, healthier, more fulfilling relationship. And last but not least, she creates space for individuality. I really believe that the more connected you are, the more autonomy you have. If you're super connected to your partner, you have that trust in them and in the relationship. You have common goals, things that you're working towards, quality time, like all those basic needs are taken care of. You don't feel threatened by them having their own interests, their own friends, their own hobbies, time for themselves. Like, it's just obvious. Like, there's no insecurity and anxiety there. That is obviously very healthy. And you also need that for yourself. Like, a romantic partner is not all that we need in order to be happy in our lives. Like, there are so many aspects of ourselves, our life, that we need to take care of and like pour energy into for us to be happy, fulfilled, and healthy. So let him do things for himself and you do things for yourself, which we already talked about how important that is for you to fill your own cup. Let him fill his own cup also. It makes both people a lot healthier, happier, and that obviously creates a beautiful dynamic when those people are together. So those are the main habits of women in healthy relationships that I wanted to talk about today. I would love to hear any from you, like anything that you've learned, that you've adjusted, or things that you've observed in couples, and like put it in the comments down below. We're all here to learn and to grow and improve. I think most of us want a healthy, happy, fulfilling relationship, and we need some help. Like, we're not living in a very healthy world, and a lot of us didn't grow up in a world like that or even see healthy relationships and what that looks like. So we need some help, okay? So if you've got any insight, I would love for you to comment it down below. And if you enjoyed this video, I'd love for you to stick around and subscribe. And you can also check out my Instagram if you want to see more content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you really, really soon.